Okay, good evening, everybody. Just real quick, I want to go through our sponsors tonight. ForPatriots.com. They have some good specials again this week, still going forward. Buy one, get one on a 4-week food supply. Same with generators. So when you get the free one, you'll get a free solar panel with it. And then over with EMP Shield. EMP Shield specials, 50% off when you use the link down in the description. And they also have some other specials for if you buy like in bulk and 2, 3 off. All right. So make sure you at least go by and take a look at what the sponsors are offering. Thank you very much. All right. So I don't know. I think some of the stuff is going okay. I noticed a little bit of lagginess there, and it might be this little plug-in thing that I'm using. I'm not sure, but it looks like all 3 locations are streaming: BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. If you're not getting anything, jump over to the other stream. If you probably don't even hear me, but in the descriptions I have and at my console. But tonight we're going to be talking about Dogman and like Dogman versus dog-faced men of the biblical and earlier history. So first of all, welcome to the Campfire, Stories of the Supernatural, where we explore the strange, the forgotten, and the unexplained. For those of you who don't know me, I am Mr. E, and today we're diving into the mystery of Dogman, not to be confused with the dog-faced men of history and of the Bible. And speaking of the Bible, that's St. Christopher. So these two entities might sound similar, but trust me, their stories couldn't be more different. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's uncover the truth hidden between legend, history, and cryptid lore. So what I'm going to do first here, then I want to play a video for you guys. Well, it's from what I typed up because I don't want to talk too much tonight. Got kind of a sore throat. So long before modern tales of dogmen, there were reports of beings with canine faces, but they weren't cryptids as we know them today. What were they? Real humanoids, symbolic representations, or misunderstood foreign cultures? Now, as you see, going back the photos as they zip by.
They speak no language, but bark like dogs, and in this manner make themselves understood by each other. Their teeth are large. Their complexion is swarthy. They are extremely just, like the rest of the Indians with whom they associate. They understand the dumb. They are called meat and number about 120,000. The Kinnecephaloi living on the mountains do not practice any trade but live by hunting. When they have killed an animal, drinking the milk of the sheep and whey made from it. They also dry it and keep it together with well-cleaned purple flowers and 260 talents of amber, with the same quantity of the purple dye, and 1,000 additional talents of amber, which they send annually to the King of India. They exchange the rest for bread, flour, and cotton stuffs with the Indians, from whom they also buy swords for hunting wild beasts, bows, and arrows, being very skillful in drawing the bow and hurling the spear. They cannot be defeated in war, since they inhabit lofty and inaccessible mountains. Every 5 years the king sends them a present of 300,000 bows, as many spears, 120,000 shields, and 50,000 swords. They do not live in houses, but in caves. They set out for the chase with bows and spears, and as they are very swift of foot, they pursue and soon overtake their quarry. The women have a bath once a month. The men do not have a bath at all, but only wash their hands. They anoint themselves 3 times a month with oil made from milk and wipe themselves with skins. The clothes of men and women alike are not skins with the hair on, but skins tanned and very fine. The richest wear linen clothes, but they are few in number. They have no beds, but sleep on leaves or grass. He who possesses the greatest number of sheep is considered the richest, and so in regard to their other possessions. All, both men and women, have tails above their hips, like dogs, but longer and more hairy. They are just, and live longer than any other men, 170, sometimes 200 years.
Oh, I have sound now. So I'm going to go back just a little bit here. I was talking away, and the video, the actual story that was told from there was actually told by somebody from India. Um, then there was some tales about Marco Polo back in 1254 to 1324 is when he lived, but in the middle there is when he was doing his travels, and he claims that he ran into them on islands where they were cannibals. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I am getting messages. And it says I'm buffering. No sound and you are buffering on and off. That must have something. I think, well, we'll see if it settles. I'll try not to do too much stream and then I'll just upload back over to BitChute. So if you're on BitChute listening, come over, go down into the description, click on the link for IRL Media on YouTube or on Rumble. But I'm going to stop the BitChute because that one's a separate stream going out. Okay, and we'll see if this settles down. It looks like it's going down quite a bit, I think. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so now we're gonna get into where does the Dogman fit into all of this? So unlike the dog-faced men of history, Dogman is something entirely different. It's a creature said to lurk in dense forests, and it's described with canine features, sometimes up to 11 feet tall. It varies between 7 and 11. Been or run-ins with them. There have been very few deaths that have been blamed on Dogman, um, and the ones that were pretty gruesome. So it says Dogman has become one of the most compelling mysteries in paranormal research circles. And early on, and this is kind of what got me hooked on Dogman, was the story of the Beast of Bray Road. And I have a little video clip here that I saw, and that's kind of what hooked me. And it was pretty interesting. It, I'm just kind of just popping over and looking at the stream here. It looks like it's okay. Patriot Roydy, let me know if we sound okay. I think we probably got a little buffer there, but give me a thumbs up if we're sounding all right. So let's see here. The Beast of Bray Road. I'm just going to show you that quick little video real quick. It's pretty cool. Where did I put it? There we go. There's no sound to it, but I took just the ending clip, but I'll give you a little bit of foreshadow on it. The beginning of the clip, I cut it all out. It's the kids out running a snowmobile in the snow, and then a picture of the truck with the hood open. They were doing some work on it and just some other stuff. But then the next clip, they're driving that truck down the road, and really quickly in the mirror, you can see the little like 8mm camera. It looked like one that I used to have as a kid. You had to wind it up. You winded it up, and then you went and made your film. But this is the video, and then we'll talk about that a little bit after. Again, there's no sound. Okay, so apparently that was found footage. Somebody went and got the film developed and They were like, "Oh wow, cool family stuff," and then that section at the end, and that thing running up through the grass, pretty freaky. But you see, like found in the found footage where all of a sudden the camera's down and it's laying in the grass and there's no movement or anything. Um, there is another video that was put out after. I don't know how much. I think it was fairly soon after. Um, and I haven't been able to find it. I used to have it years ago, but changing computers and moving things around, I lost stuff. But the other one depicted the police that were there. There was a body or something that was ripped apart that was laying on the ground, covered with a sheet, and it looked like it was in that area that was on the film. So basically saying that this might have been. It was enough to spark my interest. Not in clear focus, but none of that stuff ever is. So who knows? I know Scott Carpenter had quite a few videos out there. You can find them all over the place. Um, where and he was a Bigfoot guy that invented the camera that mounted on your shoulder and always looked to the back, so that if something appeared behind him, he would catch it. And he's also the same guy that actually caught you with that rear camera a portal opening, but I don't remember if anything came out of it or not. And I haven't seen the footage yet. I don't know if it's actually been released. I heard about this from Tony Merkel on the confessionals. They talked about it. So notable sightings, though. Well, before that, I think we talked about that. The notable sightings: Michigan Dogman, Beast of Bray Road. Many sightings and encounters in the Texas Triangle area going back to the 1800s. There's been sightings in Colorado, lots of them, Oklahoma, a lot in the east, North Carolina, Tennessee area. Um, I think possibly even South Carolina, and then again we're talking Wisconsin, Michigan. So they're being seen more and more. One other story that just came to mind, and this one was pretty wild, and this is definitely a dog man, and why I kind of have some questions about, is Dogman a natural beast that's been around for a while? Um, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, where a lot of them portal travel. Um, but the reason I bring this up, there was a guy in Manistee, Michigan, who was driving his semi truck down the road. He saw a Jeep. It looked like they had some vehicle problems, and he pulled up alongside them and asked them if they needed any help with anything. And they were like, "No, no, we're fine." But prior, because he had turned around to come back, but prior to them being there, he actually had an encounter with this dog man, and this thing was running alongside his semi truck. The head was even with the window, and it was looking in the passenger window. And he picked up his handgun and he shot it in the neck through the window and watched it tumble on the road and lay dead on the road. Well, the reason he pulled up and was going to turn around, he was going to go back to see what it was. But by the time he got his truck turned around, came back up the road, there was this black Jeep that was there with two people who were acting pretty suspicious. And they were asking, hey, he asked, do you need any help? And they were like, no, 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 we're good. And he's like, well, what happened? And they said, oh, somebody hit a bear. And they said it was a bear. So again, the same guy though, just within a day or two later, he had the men in black show up in the black SUV, confiscated a different gun. He told them it was a different gun. They confiscated that and they told him don't ever talk about it. The notable kind of like notable things here with the Dogman. So there's some comparisons to tradition. I'm going to play I've got another slideshow of just the Dogman, and this here, is going to show, some of it will show where some of them different places. Some are supposedly photographs that people took. Most are drawings. So, and I apologize for the background noise. I can't stop the those other messages from coming through. So, but they're all over. Even Australia has a dog man. So, uh, the Dogman is often compared to werewolves, but we got to break down the key differences. So, unlike the classic werewolf, Dogman doesn't transform under the full moon. There's no evidence of human to beast transitions except for the possibility, maybe, of the Native American lore of skinwalkers. So, could Dogman be a skinwalker? Maybe. Or maybe it could be a type of. So anyway, we might get into that later, but that's kind of a touchy subject with people, and so I have to figure out how to tread lightly on that one. So we might explore that in a different episode if we talk about the skinwalkers. So, or instead, this entity seems to exist in its form permanently as if it's a separate species altogether, which I kind of think it is. But I also think that there are versions of it that are created in the laboratories in the deep underground military bases. Because on a lot of these accounts, especially the ones where the dogman was shot and killed, there was another recent one in where was it? I can't remember if it was in Minnesota or Michigan, but it was outside of a camp area, and they actually had the DNR. I think it was Minnesota. The DNR came in with police officers, and they actually shot and killed it. But then shortly after, there were some government types that showed up and basically took control of the beast and put it into a truck and took it away, and they weren't even told not to talk about it or nothing. It was pretty much inferred that they shouldn't, but one of the cops did and brought it up, and they had taken pictures. So police officers always take pictures at crime scenes, so they had some pictures, and I have them on my computer, but I couldn't find them. I've got stuff, and I looked hard. I was just trying to find them, but they're not named like by Dogman, or I probably stuck them in a folder they shouldn't be under. But anyway, so we know that Dogman doesn't transform under the full moon. Um, there is a possibility it could be a skinwalker. We're not sure, but I'm in the mind that it's a separate species, but one has been here. The big giant ones that people are seeing, those 7 to 11 footers. And again, those are every time there's an incident with those, the men in black show up. So some key differences between the Dogman and werewolf origins. There are stories out there of werewolves that can change pretty much at will. Usually, it's in a flight or fright situation. So, Dogman, on the other hand, it's a cryptid rooted in modern folklore, particularly in North America, and I think that's kind of old information because they have. I just recently I've been hearing that they've got them in Australia, and there's also been sightings again in Europe, um, the UK, Romania, Russia, and some other places in the Eastern European section. So appearances now, werewolves are usually depicted as a human who morph into wolf-like creatures, retaining some human features. And it depends on how you see them in the movies. Sometimes, like in the old days, it was just a man that grew a lot of hair on his face and got some long teeth. But then starting from American Werewolf in London, you see the face start to morph out and they get the snout and the whole body basically turns into like a bipedal wolf. So again, it depends on where you're looking at it, but in the first one you kind of see some how different depictions of what people have said they look like. I still got the slideshow running as we go through this. Um, So the Dogman is described as large, muscular humanoid with a canine head, like a big dog, a coyote, or a wolf, often standing upright and bipedal. So, behavior, werewolves are often portrayed as uncontrollable, aggressive creatures that lose their human consciousness when they're transformed. Dogman, however, is said to be territorial, but not necessarily hostile unless you provoke it. Now, I've seen instances where and people have talked where they didn't provoke it, they just were in an area, and then next thing you know, boom, this thing was on them. So, werewolves are traditionally linked to lunar cycles, transforming during a full moon. And it says traditionally, not always. And Dogman doesn't follow this pattern, is believed to exist in its form entity or both. Go ahead and pop it in chat. Tell me in chat what you think a Dogman is. Do you think it's real? Number one. And do you think it's a cryptid, a supernatural entity, or both? All right, so that's going to bring us into segment number 4. And then I'm just going to come back to the main screen here because we've seen that enough. All right, so if we rule out werewolves, where does that leave us? Some believe Dogman is simply an unidentified species, while others suggest something much stranger. Could it be an interdimensional entity, a guardian of forgotten realms, or even a manifestation of ancient fears? So there's some interesting points and things that I found as I was doing some research on Dogman. So when we ask the question, is Dogman a cryptid or a supernatural entity? I found that there are many accounts of possible portal travel, and in many accounts, Dogmen have also been seen in close proximity to a Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Are they working together in some cases, or is there something else between them? Um, is one trying to keep the other under control, or is Dogman like Bigfoot's puppy? That's just some questions. But they're seen together a lot, and they also have been around the areas where portals have been activated, and this that Dogman fairly frequently when he was there. And this one time that he was there, he actually caught the portal. It was basically a distortion, a perfect circle, and it was a distortion that formed. And he got that on camera. Maybe someday that'll be released. Maybe if somebody leaked it already and we can get it, pertaining to the ancient legends of the cynocephaly. But again, those are the dog-headed men. They were civilized for the most part. When they went to war, they were fierce. Marco Polo said they were cannibals, but you know, dogs like to eat their meat raw, but they didn't eat the people that they killed in battle. Okay, there was never an account of that. And then again, talking, if you guys remember going back to an earlier show, we talked about Saint Christopher and how he's the saint of travelers, and he actually carried Jesus across the raging river. So um, dogmen can become saints. There was a question with the church back then: do the dog-headed men have souls? And if they have souls, then they wanted to bring them into the church, and I think that they probably figured they did have souls. So and that was how probably how Saint Christopher became a saint. So, how has the influence of pop culture shaped belief in Dogman? When we start talking about movies, books, the stories, all the different things that you see on YouTube. I mean, it's everybody's talking. Just want to kind of bring a little bit more of a distinction out and like what are we actually talking about here, and maybe some history. Maybe someday we'll have some people write in about an encounter or whatever, and we'll read those on the air. So I have a question though. What about the thousands of people today that have come forward with written and or spoken accounts? Watch this guy every day, and he's got people writing in every single day. He reads 4, sometimes 5 emails of people's encounters every day on the air, Sometimes people have pictures and video, and there's some pretty compelling stuff. But we know today with AI, things can be doctored. So you got to take a lot of the video DNA, or you got a dead body laying there. Um, but then the question came up is, well, if Dogman and Bigfoot are part human, would that be considered murder if you put your scope on one and took one down? Is that considered murder? So there are, let's see. I'm trying to think of some other pop culture stuff, but mainly it's movies and TV shows. And it first came out with the werewolves, and then suddenly, oh wait, there were these couldn't have been werewolves back in the 1800s, where people were starting to see these things. So then something else I ran across, what I thought was interesting, and before I actually looked into this, there was an account on a video that I watched where a woman was going to cemetery, crouch, what it looked like it was crouching behind like a headstone or something, and she stopped and she shined her flashlight out, and she sees this canine type creature with big broad shoulders, long arms, big muscular legs, just all muscle, and it had red glowing eyes, and it was digging up a grave. And kind of wondering, just off of some, it might have even been in the intro, where it showed the dog man that it could be a guardian of crypts or burial sites. Um, and it could kind of tie into ancient beliefs about spectral protectors, or even scavengers of the dead if they were digging them up. So Dogman and Dog-Faced Men, two different entities, two intriguing histories. We've explored ancient records, cryptic encounters, and theories that stretch the limits of what we think is possible. There's going to be more down the road, but I want to hear from you guys. Please leave your comments, because I read them all, and a lot of times you guys might put something in the comments that I forgot, and I can kind of incorporate that into another show, and I'll even give you a shout out for it. So, but what do you think Dogman is? Is it a flesh and blood cryptid? Is it a supernatural force or something else? So again, drop your comments. Let me know what you think it is. Do you think it's real? Do you think it's fake? I don't know. You tell me. So, as always, everybody, with all the things going on in the world today, be very aware of your surroundings. Keep your head on a swivel. Be safe out there. And I want to say God bless you to everybody out there on the other side of the screen that's watching this. You all have a good evening, and I'll see you on the next show. Have a good night.